Hey everybody, it's Mr. XStitch here, your ever-loving kingpin of contemporary embroidery, and I am back with another BossTube video where I reflect about the joys of solopreneurship, look at books that I've been listening to, and just talk about the general stresses and strains of everyday business. So yeah, it's been about a month since the last time I did one of these, and I'm trying to maintain a good schedule on YouTube despite the laws of time and space totally getting in the way of things. It's been a really curious kind of month this month, I won't lie. There's been a lot of transition that's happened, there's been a lot of transformation, and I also managed to have the flu for a while, so that's been nice. One of the single biggest changes that's happened this month is the decision to turn XStitch magazine into a solely digital publication for the time being. It wasn't an easy thing to do when I first started doing XStitch magazine. It was something that I was going to do only in print because I really wanted to do a print-based magazine. But over time I've realised that the amount of income I'm generating through the magazine does not match the amount of outgoings that relate to the business as a whole. The magazine has its kind of readership and subscriber base, and there's a tiny sliver of advertising that runs along the top of it, but the combination of the two things almost cover the cost of the production of the magazine, but by no means do they help sustain the business that surrounds it. My business, XStitch Limited, is a kind of an amalgam of running XStitch the magazine and also being Mr. XStitch and doing things like talks and workshops and the Winter Tree project and those kind of things. So, you know, the whole enterprise is designed to provide an income for me that I can use to support my family, and as is often the case with many entrepreneurs, it's taking quite a while to get there. A few BossTubes ago I talked about the Profit First book that I read by Mike Michalowicz, which is a fantastic idea and something that I do want to implement at some point. However, his idea is you take 2 times of the month when you take the money out of your account and use it to pay the bills. And that's great, except that with my business there's this like ever necessary need to be buying things, you know, whether it's paying for postage for magazines to go out or those sorts of things. So I've not been able to go, right, I'm putting profit first in that way and follow that entirely yet. Hopefully that's something I can improve upon. But as I've had a sort of ebb and flow with my business and the way the income kind of comes in, I've realised that I need to be clear about how much money comes in that I can guarantee will be able to provide half of the rent on the house that we're living. You know, it's compounded slightly. My wife's going on maternity leave in about 6 months' time. And that means that there are going to be challenges in terms of the income that she's bringing in. And so it behooves me, you know, the responsibility is on me to make sure that I can provide more income so that we don't kind of run out of things. It's a tricky one because I never want to be saying, hi, I'm just trying to feather my own nest. But at the same time, I am trying to keep my nest in existence. And that's been the transition and the stark reality that I've had to look at. It has not been pleasant to look at my business and consider that it is failing. It's so weird. The Mr. XStitch stuff, the workshops, the talks, the things that I can do there provide high content. You know, I can charge a reasonable amount of money to come and do a presentation. And indeed, if you're based in the UK and you've got an embroidery group or a craft group and you're looking for a charismatic, exciting speaker to come and do a talk, I have a fantastic PowerPoint presentation. Simply drop me an email and we can talk about that. But the kind of talks and the works that I do there, the work that I do with schools and stuff, it's fantastic. It's an engaging thing to do. It works as a high value income stream for me. The magazine still operates at a loss, and until the point when I decided to get rid of the print side of things, it very much was operating at a loss. There was no way at this point in time that I would have been able to pay for the next issue to be printed. And that's no fault of anybody other than kind of me. It's been really difficult to juggle all the balls and to try and find new advertisers and to try and find new wholesalers while maintaining the tiny kind of schedule that I have, you know, trying to make YouTube content, trying to produce a magazine, spending 2 days a week looking after my daughter, trying to keep on top of the Mr. XStitch business thanks to the support of my intern, trying to just, you know, prepare for Black Friday, prepare for Christmas, you know, and the ongoing production process. There's so many things. I definitely feel like if I had a team of like 3 or 4 people, my business would be absolutely flying. Like I have such belief in what we're doing, but I've had this real like capacity pinch point, and the only thing that I was able to do to change this and to make it more bearable and less desperate was to shrug off the cost of the print publication. It wasn't something that was easy to do, and it's left me with a lot of administration because I've had to contact all my print subscribers and explain to them that the print edition is no more, and would they switch to a digital subscription. There's lots of positives about the digital subscription. You know, no longer am I bound to 100 pages. No longer will the patterns and charts be small and difficult for people to read. Things will be scalable. I can look at implementing more interactive content, you know, maybe putting videos in, having a lot more kind of content in there because we can have as many pages as we like. So that's quite exciting. But for a lot of people, they've paid extra, you know, they pay extra for shipping, they pay extra for the print edition. So I've had to go and say to them, you know, here's the choices. You can cancel, you can stick with me. And that's led to a load of admin in and of itself. What has been absolutely marvellous is I've had so many really nice responses from people saying how much they enjoy the magazine, how it's nice to see something out there that's really like positive and making cross-stitch cool again. And so that's really inspiring, and it definitely encourages me to carry on. But this whole month, you know, I started out the month intending to work on the magazine and just move forward with that, and in the end I've made this massive change in the middle, which has led to loads of kind of admin stuff and quite a lot of soul searching and reflection along the way. So it's been really difficult, but it's definitely felt like the right thing to do. You know, when I stopped and thought about the challenge of, at the moment I have a lot of magazine stock in my garage, and the thought of another 2,000 copies of the magazine coming in, you know, is another weight on my shoulders. And even when the magazine goes to print, you know, shipping it to the different parts of the world, sending all the publications out, that's a big job that rests on my shoulders once again. And so I've lifted a load of weight by doing that. You know, you have to not let your ego get in the way of making what is the sensible decision, the sustainable decision. By doing this now, there's a probability that next year I'll be able to do the XStitch annual and have a print version of that, you know. But if I'd have carried on down this way, I would have had to gone into debt, and that would have been a very bad thing from my standpoint. So yeah, that's been really testing, but I feel like I've made the right decision, and hopefully this will be a new chapter in the way things move forward. Sometimes they talk in businesses about you're supposed to pivot, and I've been listening to an audiobook recently called Lost and Founder, which is by Rand Fiskin, who is a guy who started Moz, which is an SEO software company, and it was a really interesting book. You know, Rand's a very honest guy when he talks about the way he did things and the way he kind of fumbled through, but ended up with Moz being an extremely valuable company, you know, with a high turnover. But even at the end of all that, you know, he's quite honest about the fact that him and his wife still have quite a humble life, and that it is only the exception of the exception of the exception where people become phenomenally wealthy off the back of their enterprises and stuff like that. In his book, it's really refreshing to hear the way he talks about funding and, you know, working in businesses and the pressures of hiring and firing and growing and shrinking and all those sorts of things. And he talks about this myth of pivoting, you know, the fact that sometimes you think that a business has to transform itself, or you hear stories of where a business transformed itself, you know, where, I don't know, Yelp went from a listing thing to being a local review thing, and that was what made the difference. Or the way Instagram started out as a photo filtering tool and transformed itself into the social network that everybody loves now. There's a few examples of that pivot, and it's almost like people see that as being a really, you know, and that's what obviously made all the difference. And he basically says that's a load of crap, you know, that most of the time there isn't really a pivot, but what the smart business does is it moves to fit. You don't completely transform direction, you just, you know, move with the needs of your business. And I feel very much like that's what we've just gone through here. You know, I've had to go, when I started out as a print magazine, I wasn't even going to do a digital edition until it took so bloody long for the print magazine to get out to people that I thought I'd better just send them an electronic version in the first place. And now I've completely switched to it being completely electronic. I've lost the tangible feel of magazines, but I've gained the long-term sustainability of the business. It was a tough choice, but I feel like this kind of move like this means that the business can carry on. And maybe it's more like kind of just having to go with the flow, you know. The other book that I've been listening to just lately, and I only discovered it the other day, is a new book by Seth Godin, which I'm very excited about. Seth Godin, absolute blooming legend. He's been a marketer for years. He's kind of got this, he has a blog. If you search for Seth online, you'll find his blog where every day he posts just real great insights into the world of marketing, and it's almost like Zen wisdom, the kind of stuff that he comes up with. I've had several of his books. The Icarus Deception is a fantastic book, and Linchpin was great when I first read that. You know, how to do a job that you love and to make yourself invaluable in the positions that you work. It's a really good book. I would totally recommend that. There'll be links in the notes for those kind of books because he's so good. His latest book, This is Marketing, is almost like a tiny magnum opus where he's put together all of his thoughts about marketing and how it's changed. You know, it's not like people can be sold dreams anymore in the same way as they used to. Marketing has changed, the internet has changed everything. So now it's more about the service you provide and changing the world for the better for the people that you want to serve. There's a lot of the things he say that I feel very content with, because when I listen to the book I feel like there are steps that I'm already taking, you know, trying to disrupt and revitalise a sector, making sure that people have value in what they're doing and that I try and give them a good personal customer service. There's a lot of things I'm not achieving right now, but that's a capacity issue. But I feel like when I listen to what he has to say, and thanks to having listened to him in the past, I feel like the path that I'm following is heading in the right kind of directions. Like, I'm not trying to scam people, I'm trying to change the way things are, and I might make mistakes along the way, but I'm doing what I can. It's a really good book. I'm only about a third of the way through it, so I can't really say a lot more about it right now, but I'm really enjoying listening to that. It's definitely one where the dog's getting good dog walks out of me because I'm just listening to Seth Godin as I go along, really. So those have been good. And then the other things that have been happening, next week is the installation of the winter tree at Standon, which is going to be something quite special. My exhibition at Standon has been taken down, and it's been great to have that there. I'm looking forward to getting the pieces back and being able to obviously send them back to the artist in question. But it's been lovely to have that opportunity. And now, next week, we're going to install the tree. I'm hoping I can take the camera and do some shooting of that, but with the latest count is approximately 800 baubles, and I honestly don't know whether we're going to get them all on the tree. I'm going to get more hoops. I think we're going to have them all over the place. As many as we can get away with in Standon. It is going to be great. I've been absolutely flabbergasted, absolutely overwhelmed, amazingly honoured by the response of everybody. And there's many of you who'll be watching these videos who've had a part in that. And to you, I thank you very much indeed. It's been an amazing project. And I think it's just going to be so great to see the tree festooned with all these baubles, as I hoped it would happen. So there's a ton of work to do. I've also got to make a massive lantern to go on top of the tree, and so that has to be done next week. And it's again next week, it's one of those challenges of looking after my daughter 2 days a week. We only have one car in the house, and I have to go down to the tree 3 times next week in order to be able to do it. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge. But then the tree will be there, and it will be live at Standon until January 2019. And hopefully the weather will be kind so that it all still looks nice when it's done. But that's going to be exciting. And then I've also got a very exciting top secret thing happening that I can't talk about. But yeah, if that comes good, that'll be a very interesting thing that happens. I've said too much already. Then the other thing I've been doing, I'm really grateful that the XStitch magazine website has been overhauled by Claire Smith, who did a great job, so that's looking really good. And I've taken the opportunity to produce a few bits and pieces of merch, and I know that some of you have bought those, and I'll be putting more slogan t-shirts available in the shop when I get a chance. I've also just set up jamiechalmers.com, which is like the website about me, because one of the things that I've noticed and other people have noticed, and I'd like to thank Lord Libidan for his analytical feedback as always, it's quite hard to get in touch with me and find out what I do. Like, Mr. XStitch is a website that is, I'm glad to say, not just about me, it's about the world of needlework. So in an effort to make it clear who I am and what I'm doing, I've set up jamiechalmers.com. You're welcome to go and have a look. And that kind of explains me being a teacher and a presenter, and it enables you to contact me easily if you want to come and work with me and stuff like that. So hopefully that will be a smart little just side project there, and then I can look at, you know, making sure that people know where to find me there. But I'm quite looking forward to the tree being done so that psychically I will be clear of that space, and I'll be able to concentrate on obviously getting the next issue of the magazine done, and then just, I don't know, putting my house back in order. There's so much chaos over there in my office. There's so much chaos right now. I can't even show you. But hopefully I'll be able to get all that back in order, and hopefully, you know, get back into a schedule of making videos and stuff, because these are all a bit lastminute.com at the moment, these videos. So I think that'll do. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything I have to say. Have you got a business where you've had to pivot or swerve along the way in order to do things? Have you ever stared sustainability of your business in the face and been afraid like I have? And have you got any smart ideas about how to bend the laws of time and space in order to work even better as a solopreneur? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear if there's anything you want me to talk about in any of these BossTube videos. I'd love to know. I don't do enough to get you engagement on YouTube, so leave all the comments. If you like the video, like the video. Thank you for your time. I'm sure I will see you soon. I heart you very much.